Okay, James Strole.
Yes, hello.
Hello, how we doing?
Well, I'm doing great. It's great to be alive.
Oh yeah,
I'm in Phoenix, and it happens to be one of the hottest places in the world right now.
yes.
Uh,
So I hear.
in the history of humankind, they say that July has been the hottest month,
Yeah,
yeah. So, but hey, good. Thank goodness for AC.
yeah, no doubt about it. Now you're in Phoenix.
And I'm actually in Scottsdale.
Okay,
Yeah. So Scottsdale, the location I'm at is about 8 to 10 degrees cooler than actually in the Phoenix area. So that's a little bit of a buffer.
8 to 10 degrees. Yeah. Oh yeah, the desert. I've been to
The desert.
Phoenix in the summer. I want to say it was August. It was 115 degrees. That was hot enough.
Oh, there you go.
That was
Yeah,
brutal.
we've been hitting like 115 to 120 now for
Wow.
like what is a record 25 days or something like that
Yeah.
in a row.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty yeah, I'm a native here, so I've never experienced that,
Oh,
before.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
exceptional.
yeah, it is.
Once in a lifetime, and they're saying it's I guess since recorded history, it was the hottest
Yeah,
July on the planet.
that's right.
Well, you've got quite a
That should
bio
that
for you.
oh, yeah.
Executive
Thank you.
director of the Coalition for Radical Life Extension, and you produce RAADfest,
That's right.
Radical, right? No.
Yeah, Revolution Against Aging and Death.
Yeah, which is
What
pretty
that's Yeah,
radical,
that's pretty
absolutely.
radical.
And the co-founder and co-director of People Unlimited, an
That's right.
organization that supports people interested in unlimited lifespans,
That's right.
and co author of the book Just Getting Started 50 Years of Living Forever.
Yeah, that's quite a journey.
Yeah, a lot of co's too. And
Yes,
that tells me one thing that it's you don't want to do this by yourself. You always want to have people and help along the way.
that's right. I think it's actually impossible to do by itself, like most things really
Yeah,
that are really of value. If you want to go the long distance.
yeah, definitely. Well,
Yeah.
how long has RADFest been going on?
We had our first Rad Fest in 2016.
2016.
So,
Okay.
and yeah, 2016, and it became right off the bat the largest event of its kind, in the world.
Hmm.
And we were very happy because we wanted to not only draw the best of science, the best doctors and scientists, that were working on age reversal and maximum wellness, which we were able to. But we also wanted to draw on the public, so we had to kind of put together something that would accomplish both, right?
Right.
Because a lot of the scientists that I was, inviting to the event, they said, "Please don't have another boring science event."
Hence
We
RAD.
walk out of our own. Yeah, yeah. So we walk out of our own event, sometimes own events sometimes. So I
Yeah.
said, okay. So we went to the drawing board and we thought, okay, why don't we have a something like a Woodstock for radical life extension, the best of science, and then but also have a festive theme to it,
Hmm.
music, dancing, etc. So it kind of blew everybody's mind at first because when the scientists came in there and there was and doctors and there's all this dancing and some rock music and everything else going on. To start it out, they were going, oh, whoa, what's this?
Yeah.
But by halfway through, they were dancing in the aisles.
Nice.
So it was great. So it was great, and they were very grateful for it because,
Yeah.
yeah, we want to create something that more of a movement, not just another science event. So that's what we've done.
Right. In a lot of science events, there'll be expos. So it'll be a lot of booths.
That's right.
Everybody kind of displaying their
Yes.
wares and doing
Yes.
samples. And here's a pen. Um,
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
after hours parties, depends on the event.
Yeah.
This has
That's
the
right.
party kind of going on at the same time. Is that right?
The same time, right in the major event. We'll have
Okay.
some singing, some comedy skits, maybe, and it's homespun in the context that it's the members that do the entertainment, and we have some really talented people
Hmm.
that are come to these events.
Okay.
And in fact, one of the managers, she's one of the main officers for Sins Foundation, is actually an amazing performer and singer. So she'll be opening this Radfest that's we're having this year in September 7th through 10 in Anaheim. She'll be opening that event with a amazing, you know, put together that has a theme around super longevity.
Hmm.
And so she's a extraordinary performer. Has been a performer most all of her life, but her focus is helping. She works with Sens to help create a new innovation for super longevity.
Okay. And when I think of longevity, super longevity, I'd say my mind goes to science fiction. It goes to movies that I've seen. Um, this is kind of where I think is that it goes into different ideas behind how to live longer, and yet we see that the ages in general seem to be increasing as far as how long people are living.
That's right.
What do we mean by super longevity? What kind of, if we put a number on it, what are we looking to
Okay.
see?
Okay. So super longevity in a nutshell is about unlimited lifespans. All right. Longevity is, living as long as you can and with health, as healthy as you can until you die.
Right,
And, longevity has been around for a while. Actually, super longevity has been around, probably as long or longer. But again, you might, like you said, it's been in the terms of science fiction,
right,
but now, science fiction is turning into reality because we already have a lot of our top scientists in this country and throughout the world that have innovations that have been proven to reverse aging. Dr. Gregory Fahey, for example,
hmm,
has been able to reverse the age of the thymus
hmm,
gland for like 2.7 years. Now, that
wow,
doesn't sound like a lot, but when you take the cascading effects that happen in that, and was able to do to build the immune system, is pretty extraordinary.
right,
So that's already been several people. He's probably done that now with, I think, anywhere from 50 or more people, if I'm right. But several people have taken this protocol and very successfully, and has regained new health from it. But he's just one of several now that these innovations are, if not already being practiced, are on the table and have been proven in the lab, and are just waiting for human trials.
right. Will he be at the at RAADfest?
Yes,
Oh,
yes, he will be.
that's fantastic. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, he's quite an amazing scientist and very innovative, and very, I'll say, fun guy.
Yeah.
One of the guys that when we started doing this whole festive thing, he got right out there and started dancing and and loosened up. It kind of loosened up everybody.
Right.
So it was great to see. It was great to see.
Yeah, the icebreaker. Also,
That's right.
speaking of ice, was it cryogenic
Yeah,
technology? Is that has that changed? I
correct.
know a lot of people talk about, and I don't remember the names and all of this, but it's like Walt Disney maybe, or these really
Yeah,
large characters in our history that have thought to maybe take their head off and then have it deep freeze for the
yeah,
future.
yeah. They're correct.
How
Yeah,
is that
either their
coming
head
along?
or well, it's coming along very well. I
Yeah,
mean, the Chronics, one of the main Chronics organization, Alcor, is right here in Scottsdale,
yeah,
and yeah, their science is continuously progressing. They definitely have been successful in suspending people, and but now, of course, they haven't fully developed how to bring them out of that suspension, of course,
right.
but they're making progress,
Yeah,
and it's step by step, and it's a brave new world.
yeah,
I,
yeah, no
I,
doubt.
I admire them for their science and for their passion to create some type of way of circumventing death. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah,
so and yeah,
very early on too.
that's right.
That they were real pioneers in the idea that like this is a potential for the future. We just don't
Yes,
have it yet.
yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Yeah,
Somebody.
like any innovation,
Yeah.
people say it's impossible, whether it was flying, as and all the other,
Mm-hmm.
things we've created as humankind. At first, we always say, well, the naysayers, it's impossible until it's done, and they always say, oh, yeah, I knew it could be done. So,
Pretty much.
so pretty much, right?
Yeah.
so, yeah. So it's exciting to see these new innovations and the science move forward the way it is.
Absolutely. Yeah. And something else that comes to mind, again, sticking with science fiction, but that becomes science fact. Over time, we find that more and more these are really great ideas that become reality, slowly but surely. The more new current um, uh, rendition of Westworld, where it really went into the idea of mind mapping and taking kind of the elements of consciousness and who a person is and putting it into a another vehicle as a
Yeah,
means to preserve what we have, that
right,
consciousness, to try and transfer the
right,
consciousness.
right.
Is there
Yeah,
anybody running that?
Ray.
Is there anybody kind of trying to work that?
I'm not real familiar how that project's going. I know Ray Kurzweil, talks about this concept a lot. Basically, uploading you into the cloud
Right.
per se,
Yeah.
and that everything as he calls it, everything is virtual reality anyway. In one sense. I mean, just quoting him,
Right.
and that so because people say, "Oh, I don't want to live in in some virtual sense." Well, really, capture your true personality of yourself. Of course, that's really unknown yet.
Right.
If that can totally be done in that way. I mean, everybody has their questions about that, of course, and only the future will only tell us.
Yeah.
But again, that's another brave new world, and the science is moving along on it. But yeah, I Ray Kurzweil has been a keynote speaker at RAADfest several times,
Hmm.
and he'll be there next year giving us an update. Now he's predicted, I don't know how familiar you are with him, but he's
Uh,
like the considered the Edison of this day of this era,
hmm.
and he's predicted most of his predictions that come true. And he's created a lot of different innovate everything from the synthesizer.
Hmm.
He created that. He many devices way back for the blind to be able to play music, etc.
Oh wow.
And he's worked. He's extraordinary. He's working with Google now, and a brilliant man. But he's predicted that in 7 years, approximately, we'll be into the era of immortality.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so things are moving so exponentially fast.
Well, they really
So
are. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of some people will say, well, oh, that's impossible. Others say, oh, that's real. He usually figures this out pretty well. He does his calculations pretty accurately. The way things are moving right now, I'd like to see that happen. I mean, the a lot of people maybe don't understand that by creating a longer lifespan for all of us, it's going to take us to the planet, but they have a respect for life and a passion for life and a respect for themselves and each other that I haven't seen other places.
Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of that is if you've got what you've got going on now, you want to preserve it.
Yeah,
Karma comes due, and you want to make sure you're always on the right side of that.
that's
Because
right.
if you have a long
Exactly.
life, you've got a long time to
Yeah.
suffer too. So,
Yeah. Well said. Well said.
yeah. Yeah, the idea, I guess, I think that what we're finding out, anybody that was really surprised and is amazed, but mainly surprised by AI and ChatGPT coming out, and anybody that was surprised by that are also people that would be surprised by hearing about the revolutions that have happened in longevity and lifespans, and the people
For
that are
sure.
making this possible because
Right.
they're not paying attention to that study. So
That's right.
of course they don't know. But yeah, doing
Yeah.
the what you were calling
Yeah.
the death wheel or whatever.
Exactly.
Concentrating on living.
Yeah, working themselves into the ground most of the time.
Yeah, 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 yeah. The rat race
and
as they
and,
came.
and and like you said, you can't blame them because they aren't privy to what's going on, and maybe sometimes haven't looked deep enough, and other times, one of my purposes of doing Radfest and doing, even if you don't want to live, an unlimited lifespan, I mean, you can live longer and better than you ever had before.
Right.
So some
Yeah.
people say, oh, I just want to live, 120 or 150. And okay, I mean, I would bet them if they're lived to 150 and they're doing great, they're going to keep going.
Yeah.
But but even if they want to just live that far and with health and vitality, that's the key thing. We have look too many people, as you know, we see all of our loved ones and people we care about get to 70, 80, whatever, and start to get decrepit and weak, and so often or have to face some horrible aging disease.
Hmm.
And it's sad to see that right in the prime where they should be really enjoying uh, everything they built.
Right. Actually,
And that's yeah,
actually, a golden age. You know,
that's right,
I always
that's right.
say, I
And
always say, really, the golden age is when you're a little kid, and it turns into
yes,
iron. You
yeah.
know, as you get older.
There you go. There you go.
But
Yeah, they call '70s, '80s the golden years. It's not really the golden years,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, if you buy into that the way it is, it's just not a real thing.
Right,
But there's some people that can live in their 90s, hundreds with relatively good health. But
right.
most of the time, even when they get to 100, they show these pictures of people like that are 100 or 120 and say, "Oh, look at this person," and they look, and so often are very frail and decrepit. It's not my model. It's not a model
Yeah,
where I think we should be able to live 100, 200 years with great vitality and strength, and even to the point where we're looking like and feeling like we're in our 30s.
yeah.
That's the way it really should be. That's the kind of regeneration that we're after.
Right. And I think the idea is that wanting to work with the quality of life, so that the extension is a bonus, but living a healthy, vital life is most important. And if
Absolutely.
doing it right, it should take you to 100 plus.
Yeah, absolutely, Nick. I mean, people say all the time, they say to me, "Oh," because that's the first thing that's in their mind. Like you said, they're not privy to what's available. So when you say living, it's 200 or 120, 130, they go, "Oh, I don't want to live that long
Right.
and be in a wheelchair." Well, we're not talking about that type of living. We're talking about life with vitality and strength,
Yeah.
as you age, and you can even get better. That's what we're talking about, and that's already starting to be possible.
Yeah.
Already, yeah, we're seeing already people that say adopt certain innovations or supplements or whatever that's available that they pick up at RAADfest or they can find that in the longevity market that already are regenerating their bodies and they're living longer with more vitality. I get calls now from people all the time say, "Oh wow, thank you." He says, I got a guy the other day. He said, "I'm RAADfest saved my life." Now I'm living with more strength and vitality, and I'm more excited about life. So we see this happen now all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I back in the 90s, I kind of got on a little health bump, and I was gifted some supplements and did some research. It was a guy named Dr. Patrick Flanagan,
Oh yeah,
and I
yeah,
think
I know the name.
lives in Scottsdale or somewhere around there,
Uh huh.
maybe
Uh huh.
Sedona.
Yeah.
And he was at the time it had a different name. He had a supplement that he had worked on that was an extra active hydrogen ion that would go in and kind of eradicate free radicals. That's the way I understood it,
Oh
at
wow.
least.
Uh huh. Yeah.
And a
Yeah.
bunch of research done into the quality of water and
Mm.
the ability for water to really hydrate. And there's a lot of things that are just out there as possibilities for us to really help us and assist us in kind of living
That's
a
right.
more healthy, vital life. Would you be by chance streaming RAADfest out? That way people can get to see what's going on and some of the
Uh,
speakers?
you know, yeah. Thank you for asking that. No, no, we're not this year because our theme this year is put a face to your super longevity.
Hmm.
So we're asking people to be there in person because it's too easy to get
Mhm.
online like this, and it's a great benefit. Well, for 2 years RADFest was totally virtual because of the pandemic. So last year was the first year we were back live, and there was a good showing, but not as good as it was before the pandemic.
Right.
Same this year, and so we're having to build back up, being present because there's nothing, as you know, I mean, it's great. Like I say, the internet, and Zoom and having these connections like this saved us all on one level, right?
Yeah.
Not be totally alone. Okay.
Absolutely.
At the
Yeah.
same time, there's nothing like that personal contact that you can meet somebody in person, and in a sense, you endear yourself to them. when there's an environment that's conducive to that, and then you create people around you that also want to help you stay alive and want to share with you, their ideas and their thoughts, and then they'll track you as time goes. People who meet at RAADfest, they track each other, you
Hmm.
know, and they know who's who, and if somebody's not feeling well, they'll reach out to them, and because they've connected with them in a physical way. So we're asking people to come in person so we can kind of reestablish that environment, because people are still a little bit afraid of meeting in person.
Yeah.
And we've also got used to the convenience of just popping on a Zoom and saying hi. And like I said, it's great, but it's not as good as personal contact. So this year we're gonna. Last year we did do a Zoom, we did do a stream, and it was good. But I think it also enabled a lot of people not to show up in person.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
It does that. Yeah. I think I just saw
yeah.
that Zoom is going to resume in office work for their workers. So they're
Oh,
not doing Zoom for work anymore at Zoom.
yeah, yeah,
It's just there's an idea to being in person, to having a solid interaction with people that
yeah.
even when you're streaming an event, that's great. I think it's great if it's music, streaming music,
Oh yeah,
you know.
absolutely, absolutely. That's a whole different thing.
But when you're
Yeah,
there at an event, you're really getting a
yeah.
buzz off of the energy in the room,
You are.
and I don't know that that transmits to through the the airwaves.
Not as much. It
Yeah, not
does.
as much.
I mean, I feel totally connected to you now, Nick.
Yeah,
But
yeah, exactly.
it but we're like-minded people.
Yeah,
So we're sharing that information. So somebody who isn't that way hasn't got that feeling yet. The only way sometimes they can get it is to be in person and get a feel for that energy.
yeah. There's an idea when you're in the you know convention space that you bump into random people, you see random things that you just wouldn't find anywhere else. That's just the way that
That's right.
events are.
That's
You
right.
end up going down aisle B, and you see something that never crossed your mind before, and there was no other way to find that thing. You could look at the list of
That's
the
what
names of the
happens.
businesses, and you'd be like, "Oh, that's
That's what
great,
happens.
great, great."
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
stumble upon it, and then you have a conversation with somebody in person. There's just nothing like it.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
And at RADfest, because we create that, kind of that type of collaboration between the scientists and doctors, so many of them have come there and found new collaborations to advance their own work with other
Right.
doctors and other scientists.
Network.
And yeah, or you bump into somebody that has, say you got an asthma issue and they've got an asthma, and then they know some solution, and they connect with you, so they want to help you, and so this is where it just gets the ball rolling, and we're all helping each other, and that's really, like you said earlier, this isn't not a lone trip.
Right.
It's a collective. I call it a collective intelligence that's happening,
Yeah.
and it just gets bigger all the time. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a beautiful
Absolutely.
thing. It's a beautiful thing to watch and experience.
About how many presentations or I wouldn't say workshops, but how many presenters do you have this year?
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to have about 25 main presenters on the main stage,
Hmm.
and then probably another 20 or 25 in what's called the Rad City stage. The Rad City stage is the exhibit hall. Okay. We call it that marketplace of the future.
Hmm.
People who are profiting off of health rather than death. You know,
Right.
and so altogether, you're looking at probably about 40 to 50.
Oh, that's great. And
don't
then
we don't split it up, which is great. What we do is when the main hall is going on, the exhibit hall is closed, and vice versa. So everybody's having the same experience at the same time.
that's
That's
great.
what that's what we want. We wanted to create that power of togetherness.
Right. And how many exhibitors then? This.
I think there's about 75,
Oh
80, something
wow,
like that.
that's great.
Yeah,
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 a real
yeah.
good
We
number.
sold out. We sold out this year
Hmm.
in the exhibit hall. Yeah,
And this is Anaheim, California,
yeah, correct. Anaheim,
and
California, the Hyatt Regency,
Hyatt Regency, and what's the
very
this is
beautiful hotel.
what are the dates again?
Sep- yeah, September 7th through 10th. Anybody wants to register, we're running a discount right now for anybody this last 30 days before the event starts. And then go at RAADfest. That's RAADFEST, radfest.com, and and right the front page will pop up, and they can register right there.
Great.
They'll be thrilled that they did. It'll change their life in such an amazing way.
Now is that 4 days? That's Thursday through Sunday.
Thursday through Sunday.
Okay. And so somebody was
Yeah.
only able to be there, let's say Thursday and Friday, or
Yeah,
Thursday.
we'll be selling 2 day passes. There are 2 day passes they can get. Yeah,
Okay.
they can just come in for a short time. Whatever works for them. I mean, obviously, we like to see people come for the whole experience, but better 2 days than not at all, and they'll
Right.
get a lot.
And
Okay, because
they'll
it's
still be able to experience quite a bit of the event.
oh, for sure,
Yeah,
for sure, absolutely.
that's great.
Yeah,
Now, you you've done a lot with this work.
yeah.
What got you? What was your impetus? What got you started in all this?
Well, I got started, at a really young age. The short story is um, I was very close to my grandmother, and she was just a striking, passionate person, and kind of took me under her wing when my mother, when I was born, was um, she was sick for a while, and then because of that, my grandmother got close to me, and short, and so anyway, though when I was about um, 11, she contracted cancer,
Hmm.
and consequently, I was a Christian woman, and she was progressive, but she was, and so I said, well, that didn't feel too good to me. I said, well, why can't we have heaven here on earth?
Hmm.
Why do we have to die to go to heaven? Why
Yeah.
can't we have heaven here on earth? And she said, oh wow. She said that's a good thought.
Yeah.
Instead of slapping me down, that's kind of she was great like that.
Right.
She said, that's a good thought. Why don't you pursue that? So
Wow.
I did. I had that was just instilled in me then.
Wow.
And when I was in school, I started writing themes about it. I started writing about it in school, and in fact, I even had my teachers, come and address me about it. They would say, "Oh, wow, what you're writing about is really powerful." And in fact, they called my parents in for a session with him to tell them, "Hey, he's going to do something." They felt special in the world
Hmm.
because he's got this passion for life, and so this one teacher in particular, I'll never forget him. His name was Mr. Newcomer. He said he wanted to see what was in me cultivated, and nourished. So it's beautiful to have a teacher like that.
Yeah.
And so, along with him and my mother and others who encouraged me, I pursued that thought. Right on through my life. Everything
Wow.
I got involved with, I went to talks anywhere I could go on anything around long at that time just longevity. I mean, super longevity wasn't talked about much, but health was, and vitality in many areas.
Right.
I go to anything I could hear on that subject, any speaker, or anything down the line. And finally, I met my partner, who I'm working with now, and she was working with another individual, and they were talking at that time that immortality was possible.
Hmm.
They were just speaking and traveling and doing that, and I thought, oh wow, I want to do that. I want to work with them. Well, I was only like at that time 18, and uh, but I was very moved by them. So I went to all their events wherever they had them.
Yeah.
They were from Colorado, and they would have these events all over different places, just talking about immortality.
Yeah.
And then that should be. And then yeah, we started eventually. Short story again is we started working together. I said I would like to work with you guys. I was around all the time anyway. I was hanging out, going to all the events. I was like their star attendee,
Yeah.
and so they invited me to start working with them. I mainly worked with them on the business end, helping generate income that we could travel more and get the word out. And eventually, we started traveling all over the world, talking about immortality and super longevity. And it was an amazing thing. People all over the world were just deeply attracted to it.
Yeah.
Of course there was resistance, too. But we were surprised how many people just whether it was Germany or Israel or Australia or wherever we went, there was like just crowds of people. And in 1992, we had a major event here in Scottsdale, Arizona. We decided to do a week long event here on super longevity,
Hmm.
and we thought maybe we might get about 300 or 400 people. We got over 1,000 people, and they came from all over the world.
Wow.
Yeah, and so
Wow. That's great.
so that just yeah. From there, now Bernie and I we started together, People Unlimited in 1995, It's here in Scottsdale. It's a community of immortalists, like-minded people who are encouraging each other, inspiring each other, sharing information. They help. Most of them are the volunteers that work at RAADfest.
Yeah.
They help make it happen, and yeah, it's great to see how people come on fire when they really get a higher mission in their own body. All this new, when Bernie and I started working together,
Yeah.
and but there wasn't much or hardly any. Um, so so today I'm very grateful. Bill Falloon and the Life Extension Foundation. Bill Andrews of Sierra Sciences, Aubrey DeGray. You know, they're just on board to help us in any way. Bring about the community that they want to see happen, and also the support of the people with them. So it's a mutual, flow that energizes everybody,
Right.
and it's growing all the time. So I'm very thankful for that today.
Yeah. And people unlimited. It's not a person. It's people.
That's right.
Coalition. It's a collective.
Yeah,
You know,
that's right.
this is a group of people that are coming together to help and support everybody and to share knowledge
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
experience and to help one another to achieve um, longevity to start and
Yeah. Yeah.
vitality
Thank you
maybe
for.
in life as a start and then
Yeah.
see where it goes from
100%.
there. Uh,
That's right. The coalition is a nonprofit organization.
okay.
People Unlimited is just a 50 is a subchapter S, and uh, but um, but yeah, you said it very well. The people are very dedicated with me and everyone we meet to really bring about a world without aging and death, a world that we can all live in without having to struggle all the time with survival,
Yeah.
because survival keeps us in just that. It keeps us in survival mode. We never get a chance to really understand ourselves, know who we really are, because we're trying to always make a living, or make it through this.
Mm-hmm.
This whole all this struggle we get into so often. It's de-energizing for the
Yeah.
most part. Life should be energizing, right?
Exactly.
Life should energize us.
Yeah.
So that's what we're moving to do. Energize each other, find more and more people who want to energize each other, and then it's very impactful then.
Yeah. Work on immunity.
Yeah, that's right.
Immunity. Yeah. And
Yeah,
that's what if I have a conversation with somebody even about um, living longer or extending or desire to live forever. Most people are tired and they're like, wow, that
yes,
sounds
absolutely.
terrible. you know?
Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
because they're in that battle of
yeah.
survival.
Yeah, and from where you're right, from where they're at, it is a struggle, and so I understand that. But again, we're talking about a different life,
Right.
a different way of being. And but you're right. I mean, that's one of the first reactions I get from so many people. Oh, I can't wait to get out of here. This world is terrible. Then I'll say, okay, so what about if we were able to change all that? If you could live with strength and vitality and a world that we weren't killing each other all the time,
Right.
would you want to do that?
Yeah.
Well, at first well, that's not possible. That's not possible. And then I'll say, well, what if it were possible? And then they'll come back and go, most of the time they'll go, oh, okay, well, if that was possible and I could live with strength and vitality and I wouldn't have to live in a world that of dog eat dog and, people killing each other all the time. Yes, I could say yes to that.
Yeah. I think
So
everybody
finally,
would agree. Yeah.
yes, yes. I mean, hey, so then why not create that world? I mean, if we have the power of creation, which we do, all right, it's in our bodies, why not create that world?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's natural to want to live. And so that kind of tells us something about like the magic there that life is trying to conquer death is that there's this innate thing in us that is looking for the answer to survive.
yes,
It's the
I'm so happy
pulse,
you said that.
you know.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people look to it as a spiritual thing, like, well, your soul is remembering its eternity. It's remembering the place that it came from, and it's just visiting here. But the idea behind what a cell is and the ability for the body, the organism to create and to refresh itself every certain amount of days or years, there's an innate response in the organism to regenerate and survive. And
That's right.
I do want to say I saw something recently in a news article that there was somebody that had successfully reversed the aging in a cell. And I think that's kind of the
Yeah. Yeah,
beginning
that's right.
steps, right?
That's right. That's business and money, but where am I? You know. So he sold the business. He sold it for like $780 million.
Hmm.
Okay, and now he's devoted himself to totally reversing his aging. So he's been doing this for a couple of years now. He's going to be speaking at RAADfest how he's done it. He's got a new program called Blueprint,
Hmm.
and he's going to tell everybody how he's exactly doing it, which is amazing. That's what I'm talking about, sharing information. Okay,
Yeah.
he's not getting paid for that. He's not getting paid for this.
Right.
He's coming out of the passion of his own heart to share. All right, and his passion to stay alive and to share that with the humanity. He wants all humanity to feel this have this experience. And so he's going to be talking about his techniques, and he has documented. He spends $1 million or more, actually a couple million a year now,
Hmm.
just on his health, hiring and everything he does. He's also been established as the most biologically measured man in the world.
Hmm. Wow.
So he's done all his biomarker, yeah. And so he has proven by his biomarkers, mind blowing. This will change the world because if it works, when he goes into human trials, just waiting to be able to go to get the money to do it. And he's got some funding that looks like it might come through here in the next few months, hopefully. And then within a year or two, he'll be able to create this gene therapy where it can reverse aging to a biological 25. So
Wow.
you could be 80 or 90 and then be biologically 25,
Wow.
if it works
Biologically.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes, chronologically 90 and biologically 25.
Right.
Amazing, right? So, well, I
Yeah.
mean, I mean, this is really the beauty of what could happen. All
Yeah.
right. Now, that hasn't been proven yet, but even if that only worked 10%, that would be a huge step.
Oh yeah.
it
Even
would it
ten
would change.
percent.
It would change. That's right. And so then within a few years, so people say, "Well, that's cost so much money." Well, like everything else, yes, whether it's a cell phone in the beginning or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
it was expensive. Hardly anybody can own it. Now everybody owns one.
Right.
Well, his idea is to make that available. His passion is that's how passionate this guy is. He's going to make that available for everybody on the planet. He
Mm.
can create this gene therapy in the pill form,
Yeah.
and the pill form will only cost a few dollars to actually create, and then however he'll manufacture, but however
Production. Right.
the production or the cells company will take it, and then but probably for to reverse your aging. So
Yeah.
that's just one of the futuristic things that's happening. That's amongst several of this kind.
Yeah. It's amazing. And I
It
would
is.
say that we don't know yet what we'll be able to do with putting AI into this and saying, hey, get to
That's right.
work.
That's
You
right.
know,
That's right.
take a look at
Look.
look at these jumbled letters and make an alphabet out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure,
Yeah.
there's risk in AI. There's risk, but hey, look, these are calculated risks that I think as a humanity we have to move forward and be able to, control them in a way that we get them to serve us.
Right.
And yes, we need this. We need this new, quick, information that we aren't able to process in our own heads
Yeah.
by ourselves. So why not use these creations? And yeah, there's always risk, but I think the benefits far outweigh the risk.
Yeah. It's another tool. It's
Another tool.
dynamic. You say it's
Yes,
the biggest thing since the printing press,
that's right.
which is
That's
huge.
right.
And we
It
did
is.
think that the internet was that, but it really wasn't the internet. It was what
No,
comes out of what rides in the internet. And
100%.
AI has already
100%.
been used in a lot of things and is already being everywhere already. Anyway, we just weren't aware of it.
Absolutely.
Now that it's
Absolutely.
public, it's like, oh hey, guess what?
Yeah.
We've already been here doing
Yeah.
this, and it's
Yeah.
not scary. It's something that can be utilized,
That's
and
right.
you can,
In a magnificent way.
yeah,
In a
yeah.
magnificent way.
It's an amazing mirror, in that
And like you said, it's already being
it's
utilized,
already been utilized. Yeah,
and yeah, that's right.
and it's only going to get better as it learns itself.
Hmm.
Um, but the idea is, I guess, to keep it in line with us, so that it's always working to,
Yeah,
work to make us better
exactly.
too.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. Well, that's the key, right?
yeah,
I mean, any machine, anything that is created is only as good as the creator.
yeah,
I mean, we have to have that conscience. We have to have that and be able to instill that and to be able to And of course, we deal with this, like I said before, corruption in the world, but a lot of that
Hmm.
comes from just because of the program of death.
Right.
People are desperate. People are desperate to have leave some type of legacy. They think having all the money in the world, gives them credibility. We know it doesn't,
Right.
but it's a fault. It's what I call false immortality. you
Yeah.
know
It's
leaving these, it's an imaginary immortality. Well, and like you said earlier, what I loved you saying, that it's innate in our bodies to live.
yeah. Yeah.
And so we create imaginary immortalities to try to fulfill that, but what we really need is the real thing. We need
Yeah.
the real thing, because we're never going to be fulfilled as human beings until we do.
Yeah. It's the world of limited
Yes,
resources. Limited this. Everything's limited. So in that limited
that's right.
world, it's those that have the most of the limited thing that ride to the top. Whatever
That's
that
right.
limited thing is. If you
That's
start
right.
talking universal, you start talking, and I won't go. I won't go unlimited. I won't go that far because then we're talking infinite, and infinite's a scary word.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
um,
yeah.
beyond comprehension of lengths of time, that makes the idea of that limited world really barbaric.
Uh-huh.
You know, life is
That's right.
precious. It can last a really long time. Don't spoil it.
Yes, yes.
And those that are doing that are in that mindset. Those that are in that
That's
idea that
right.
like life is precious, don't ruin a good thing.
That's exactly right.
Whereas in limited world is like, take it and run.
Yeah, 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 you're so right. And we,
Yeah.
we speak so casually sometimes of, oh, if we destroy this world, we can always go to another planet. We have these escape mechanisms, and so forth. We're never going to get something like Earth, like
Right.
this way.
Right.
All right. It's
Yeah.
so precious. This Earth, first of all, it's a phenomenon for us to even have this place.
Yes.
It's a total miracle.
As a
All right.
species.
However you want to see it, however you want to look at it, it's a miracle. Okay.
Yeah.
And we've searched all kinds of planets, and there's possibilities for life in different places, of course. And there's undoubtedly life on other planets somewhere, but we haven't really, defined that yet. And the planets we do find, they're not seeded yet for life, and it would take us a long, 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 long time
Right. They're not for
to get
us.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so we should really treasure, this planet as a miracle, and whatever we create from there. Okay, not take this planet for granted on any
Yeah.
level. I mean, it's a miraculous place, and we're all blessed to have it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I was long time ago. I was speaking to some very heavily religious couple, and their idea was that it's a precious earth, but it's like a pretty vase, and if it falls and it breaks, it's no big deal because there's another place that they're going to go. And that
Right,
idea
right.
to me was just it was terrible because it was just so
Mm.
inconsiderate to the space and what they have as an organism, as a species. And what we have as a species is this amazing planet that can and will regenerate itself just like everything wants to live. We're just another part of that same thing. And this planet will thrive with or without us. And
Yes,
it would be really
yes,
advantageous for us to evaluate the space that we have and that blessing that
yeah,
these other planets, and there's probably a zillion other planets in this very diverse and wide universe, but they're not ours. This is ours.
yeah.
This is where
That's
we
right.
are
That's right.
to us to stand up and say, this is our place,
Yeah,
and we can expand from here, but we need this place.
that's right.
And
We,
if
we, def- we
we're looking
definitely,
at
definitely. Thank you. Yeah,
long
thank you for
life,
expressing all that.
when we really need a real
Well, this couple, the dogma. It's like Mark Twain, said it's harder to change somebody, that to shift somebody from their conviction than because they're so embedded in that conviction. It's easier to maybe change, to show them maybe another idea, but you can't change them from their own conviction.
right.
That's part of sometimes the conditions we live in, that um, human beings have gotten so, I'll say, rigid in
Mm-hmm.
some of their thinking in that way. Uh, but it's fear.
Yeah.
It's fear. It's fear that there's nothing, and who wants to think that there's nothing? So we create these options, these plan Bs,
Hmm.
and in reality, you know, like I said when I was just a kid, hey, why can't we create heaven here on earth? Why? I mean, we have a sure thing here. Do we need? Is there a symbiosis between the human being and the planet itself? Are we creators in our own bodies?
Mm.
Do we have the power of creation that we haven't even tapped into yet? So these are things I sometimes get in discussions about because I think in our own bodies we have a immortal lineage that's there that we can tap into. It's there, like you said. It's innate.
Yeah.
This desire for immortality is innate. So what is that? It's like to me, it's like an immortal lineage that's there that wants to be fulfilled, and out of that, there's a fulfillment of our own bodies and the people that we are meant to be as human beings. That then we become the creators here on this earth of what we really want us to happen. But yet, and that's a powerful thing to experience, that we really know that we're the creators. And then we know we can transform the earth and we can transform whatever we need to transform to create a better life.
Yeah.
So this is something I've been speaking about a lot lately, experiencing my own person, and questions I'm having that I'm getting people in conversations about that because there needs to be more of a deep experience in each of us that we do have the power of creation and that we can create what we need to create to really,
Uh,
yeah,
and one of the desired to live forever with the gods. They live forever. Why can't
yeah,
I?
yeah, exactly,
He was like a Hercules character. So his dad was the you know the sky god, I believe, or something like that, and his mother was human mortal. So he was
hmm,
half mortal, half immortal. So why
yeah,
do I have to die a mortal death if I've got this more immortality in me? And I think it's a story really of
exactly,
that innate desire, and perhaps potentially it's a story to tell us that there is a way for us to unlock the power of our DNA to be
that's right,
regenerative instead of
that's right,
being closed off.
yeah, 100%,
Um, in his story, he had to go into the heavens to find another mortal that got to live forever, and said, "How did you do it? Why did the gods let you up here? You're not even divine."
yeah,
But I think that is it's just part of a natural inclination that we have, it's almost like a secret present for us that's left within
yeah,
us. Like, here is
that's
this
right,
special desire that you can unlock.
yeah,
Um, we look at the old kings lists; they're thousands of years long for single kings. The stories of these gods that live forever.
yeah,
There's just some kind of idea that used to be, and maybe still is, there as almost like a gift to mankind if we could only pick it up and open it
yeah,
and
yeah,
grasp it.
yeah, exactly. That's something I've been, like I said, speaking about a lot, even in our events,
Yeah.
is that deep gift that's there in our bodies, that I've called the immortal lineage from wherever it came from. Um, it's really always been there.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like you said, waiting for it to be called out, waiting for there to be a manifestation,
Yeah.
and an opportunity for us to recognize that and begin to move from that royalty. Really,
Yeah.
there's a royalty in it, and I think as human beings we have that capacity to have that royal place in our persons, not something elevated as some idol or king somewhere, but the royalty of the body that has at the same time the humbleness of just being alive,
Right.
and the gratefulness for you know for being on, like you said earlier, being on this planet, and appreciating it, and having this real virtue come out of our bodies.
Right.
And so this is what I love to feel my own person, and I'm very grateful to have this conversation with you today, because I think this is something that we need to, all of us, explore even deeper in our own selves.
Yeah. Definitely. I call it
Yeah,
it's the avatar or whatever, the hero, finding the hero within
the
yourself.
hero. That's great.
You are the
That's great.
hero. You just have to get to it.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. That's right. That's
climb the
right.
ladder.
Then if we have nothing but heroes around, then we're all not trying to compete against each other. We're
Right.
helping build a different world.
Yeah.
We don't have to compete with each other. We're all different
Yeah.
anyway. So why do we have to compete with each other? Because we're already different. Let's just do what we do together and everybody be at their best.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, that's the idea is that if we can allocate resources so everybody has some instead of it being
yeah,
isolated pockets, that everybody has what they need. That it could be universally allocated resources, like an AI kind of operation. That's
yeah,
like, okay,
yeah.
nobody's going to go hungry anymore. Uh,
Nobody's going to go hungry.
yeah,
Nobody does not have the roof over their head.
right.
You know, I mean,
War,
happy people only helps you be happy because you
right.
have to worry about them stealing what you've got.
Yeah,
You know, but it's all connected. I think too, really a deep way to this death program because death corrupts us.
yeah.
It corrupts us
Fear.
because we're here. Yes, because the fear of it, the anxiety of it, and we know we're here just for a short time. We're the only area,
Yeah,
and people death, but they do. It's underneath it's there and their bodies. They just shove it down. They shove the anxiety of it down, and
yeah,
it creates a horrible psychological condition in the body of survival. And this is where all the greed comes from and everything else. So in getting rid of this death program, that's why I'm excited about conquering aging and death. We're going to take ourselves, like I said, into this era of creativity that we're
hmm,
talking about here,
yeah.
and we're going to get out of that psychosis of death.
Yeah, that's a good point to put it at is the psychosis.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
mind over matter. So once we get our mind in
yeah,
line to not be riding on
yeah,
fear, those
yeah.
old
That's right.
programs that we learned when we were young, and they served us very well to survive.
Yeah,
It's
that's
that
right.
survival program. Um, that's part of the natural process is that there's going to be fear and scared things happen that in your bedroom, knocking in the
Yeah,
closet, monsters, whatever. Uh,
right.
but those are when you're a kid, and that is for you to clear and restructure and realign and conquer.
Yeah,
And so where we're at the
yeah,
in a battle not with each other but with ourselves. We're looking to
yeah,
conquer ourselves to
yeah.
find that hero, that for our own
There you go.
life.
There you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
I
that's
love
great.
that.
So we're
I
going to
love
do
that. Very well
RAADfest
said.
September
Yeah.
7th through the 10th
Seven through 10.
in Anaheim, California.
That's right.
And that's RAADfest.com. We'll have it tagged in the description
Thank you.
for
Thank you.
anybody that watches this. And
Yeah.
it was great having you here today.
Well, thank you so much. Very inspiring conversation. And yeah, I was thrilled. I feel very blessed to be on your show.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I'll look forward to seeing more about RAADfest and more about what you've got going on in the future.
Yeah. And I'm giving you a personal invitation to RADFest.
Okay.
Personal invitation with a pass.
Oh, all
Okay, with a
right.
press pass. Yeah, yeah, you don't have to pay.
Okay.
And yeah, and I want your audience to be able to also understand that we're a nonprofit organization and we've priced this very reasonably and it's top quality event and they'll be really thrilled that they visit us and come to Radfest because it will change their lives, like I said, and we'll get in conversations they've never been in before
Yeah.
and it'll open up a whole new world. So I want to invite everybody personally.
That's what it's all about right there. No doubt.
That is
Well,
that is.
thank you so much, and you have a
All
good
right.
night.